Lancaster County Second Chances by Ruth Price. If you enjoy listening to Chapter 1 of this book, you can download the whole book for free on Kindle, Nook, iBooks, Kobo, Page Foundry and Oyster by clicking on the link in the description. Katie Olson looked out the kitchen window. The sun was just coming up, and everyone but her maid and younger sister were already out in the fields. It was spring, and the rising sun spread its beams over soft brown earth, ready for planting. The landscape was the same as she remembered. The gentle hills of her Lancaster County home seemed to be forever rolling away to the horizon. It had always been a comforting view. She picked at the white cotton tablecloth with her fingers. It was the same familiar tablecloth she had used as a child, the hand-sewn border, the faint stain from the strawberry accident, the little uneven nubs that she had loved to rub with her fingers. This plain white farmhouse still looked just the same as it had when she was 6 years old. The massive gray barn had seemed endless then, and it still looked huge. The freshly tilled earth would soon be filled with movement and color and sound. This farm had been her home. She had felt so comfortable in it, as if she herself had been a young plant springing up from her dad's fields. She had grown from this soil, like the oak trees overshadowing the house. Like her mame's roses. Like the wheat that swayed and whisked to the lavender twilight. Once, her world had been as safe and predictable as bud and bloom and harvest. It had seemed to her that nothing would ever change. But everything had changed. She was 26 now. The familiar white farmhouse wasn't her home any longer. It was her parents' home. The tablecloth, the house, the barn, the oak trees, and even the rolling hills, all of them belonged to the child she had been, not the young woman she had become. For the past 3 months, she had been an increasingly uncomfortable guest in her parents' home. Of course, her mame and dad would never put it that way. And she did her best to help them around the house and with her little sister and brother. But still, Katie's fingertip raised the corner of a paper lying underneath her breakfast plate. Her mame had forgotten it there this morning. It was an Amish advertising to circular. The headline read, "Young widowed man interested in remarriage." A cheer. Why such a sad face, cats? Katie pulled her lips into a smile and turned to face her 10-year-old sister, Bet. No sad face for you, Bet. She pulled her blonde giggle box of a sister into her arms and smiled. Come, I will help you with your chores. They walked out to the chicken coop and roused the hens. Katie had always liked gathering eggs, the sleepy, blinking hens, the feel of their soft feathers, the warm, smooth eggs. Bet was skipping in her joy. I'm glad you're back, cats, she was saying, calling Katie by the nickname everyone in her family used. Katie stopped gathering eggs momentarily. She bit her lip. She wished she could say, I am glad to be back, but that would have been a lie, and she already had too many sins on her soul. I'm glad you are pleased, was what she said. Everyone is pleased, Bet nattered on. Last Sunday I heard Mr. Hirschberger say that you have a pleasing countenance and that you are a diligent worker. And Mr. Byler said that he's glad you're back, and that it's a good thing. Bet dug a toe into the dirt and smiled shyly up at Katie. I think they like you, she added. Katie stifled an impatient exclamation. Mr. Hirschberger was 20 years her elder. He was bald and fat and had an ungovernable temper. And Mr. Byler was 70 if he was a day and as shriveled as a stick. The last thing in the world she wanted was to attract the attention of men like Mr. Hirschberger and Mr. Byler. Or, really, the attention of any man. She closed her eyes and counted slowly to 10 before saying, I think that's all for now, Bet. Let's take these back. Bet giggled and skipped along beside her. I can't wait until I'm your age, cats, she confided, and all the men are. Katie said nothing in reply, but she was wishing with all her soul that she could somehow revert to her sister's age and once again be a freckled, laughing child. At dinner that night, the table was laden with baked bread and butter, beans and bacon, ham, baked potatoes, apple pie topped with cheese. It was good, solid farmhouse cooking, some of which Katie had made herself, but she had no appetite. Katie's mame shot her husband a glance. He straightened in his chair and cleared his throat. "Are you feeling ill, cats?" He rumbled. "Eat, then." She dutifully picked up a forkful of potatoes and put it into her mouth. Katie retreated to bed immediately after dinner, pleading a throbbing head. Her parents had put her in her old bedroom. It still looked much the same as it had, the bare wooden floor, the plain single bed next to the big window overlooking the fields, the same starburst quilt that her grandmother had made for her when she born, with its red, blue, and green. Even her old toys were still there, the old cotton doll and the stuffed bear that she had worn to shreds, all still lying at the bottom of the quilt. There was the prayer book she had used as a child, still with their childish scrawls inside. The old bedroom should have been a reassuring haven, but for Katie, it was oddly jarring, a reminder of what she wasn't anymore, and could never be again. Just as she had always done, she knelt down beside the bed for her evening prayers. As a child, it had been easy and natural for her to pray to God. She had felt His presence everywhere. But tonight, she found no words to say. Now, she didn't feel His presence at all. She had not felt His presence for months. Sometimes, in her darkest moments, she even feared that God had. The sound of a soft knock at Katie's bedroom door ended her devotions. Katie rose and opened the door to find her Mame standing outside. The candlelight touched. "May I come in?" "Of course." Katie sat down on the bed and patted the space beside her. Katie's Mame sat down quickly and put an arm around her. Her eyes looked worried. "I shouldn't have left that advertisement on the table. I think I've upset you," she said softly. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." "You have a right," Katie replied, looking down. "It's not about our rights," her Mame corrected quickly. "Your doll Ed and we just want to see you smile again. To come back again, just a little bit." She smoothed a tendril of Katie's soft brown hair back from her face. "You're not the only ones," Katie told her, with an unhappy grimace. "Bet told me today that Mr. Hirschberger and Mr. Byler were asking after me," Katie added, wrinkling her nose. Her Mame burst out laughing and hugged her close. "Then I don't blame you for picking at your food tonight." She smiled. "It would trouble me too." Katie smiled in spite of herself, and her Mame laughed again. "There," she said tenderly, lifting Katie's chin. "That's what I was looking for. My cats." Suddenly everything that had happened, everything that she had lost, welled up in Katie's heart. "Oh, Mame!" she cried, and sobbed as her Mame made soothing noises and rocked her back and forth like a child. Thank you for taking the time to enjoy Chapter 1 of Lancaster County Second Chances. You can download the entire book for free at the link in the description. This book is available for free on Kindle, Nook, iBooks, Kobo,